Nyasha, great to have you here. Thank you very much that you're in Offenbach. How was your day on the Impact Festival?
Really nice. I'm super happy to be here. I think there's a buzz around, there's a lot of innovation, a lot of talking, a lot of networking. I think it really feels very inspiring, and I can tell that people are excited, and yeah, you get an energy from coming to these types of events, so I'm super happy to be here.
Okay, I understand. You call yourself as an activist, so can you tell us what this means? And of course, what are the ideas that you're bringing into festivals like the Impact Festival?
So an artivist is the delightful blend of architect and activist. And artivism is really, if you think of architecture in a way, or city making as building up, then artivism is about breaking down the status quo, breaking down the walls and barriers that govern our cities and how we create them in order to build back better, to build regenerative, sustainable, circular, but also just and equitable cities, because it's very important. And so that's really one of the things that artivism is all about. And it's also about bringing people together, just as the Impact Festival does. Sometimes we get this idea that we're working in silos, doing different things, looking more at circularity here, looking more from a nature perspective. But actually we're all working towards tackling the climate crisis. And Activism is about bringing us all together, not only the professionals working in the building industry, but also as citizens, as people who live in the built environment, who work. I mean, the built environment is all around us, so we're all a part of it, and it's about taking up this right to the city that we have and making it our own, making it inclusive, and playing an active role in that. And that's really what Activism is about. So an inclusive process, a movement that very much is in line with what's going on and what we see here at Impact Festival.
You're an activist and activist, but is the number of people that are architects very high, that are thinking like you, they have the same thoughts? Is it a growing group, or is it just a small group? I've got no idea. Can you tell me?
Yeah, sure. I think that there's a thirst for it, for sure. And people are doing all sorts of different things within the sector, and like I said, sometimes feel that they're working on their own. If they're working more on a social aspect or participation, working with citizens and residents, they don't sometimes feel that they're working on the same topics as someone who's really looking at material passports and making sure that buildings, we can kind of pick them apart to rebuild somewhere else in a circular way. But we're all in this together, and I think that people are thinking about these things. It's much more now than before. But coming together and thinking of it as one in a fragmented sector, a bit less. Like, we know that that's what we need, but the fragmented aspect is still there. Okay. So with time, we're starting to move together and start to realize that collaboration across all stakeholders is really what's going to be needed. We'll get there eventually.
Okay. But I see this is one of your core topics.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Another thing I recognize is that you're a member of the board of Women Make the City. Can you tell us a little bit about it? What's behind this?
Sure. So Women Make the City is a foundation whose mission is to create inclusive, equitable, just, and sustainable cities for all. And the idea is to take an intersectional feminist approach to do that. So intersectional is in going beyond just women, but really thinking about how we can look at all types of identities and bring in citizen advocates, so people, women from neighborhoods, in order to create the city together with policymakers, with the government, with developers. And so that's what the foundation is all about. And as a board member, I'm there to support the foundation, to help get this going, to help with the operational things and to help with the strategic aspects. So it's really exciting to see these types of citizen advocacy groups come up and the work that they're doing. And this is all part of Activism, in a sense that it's not necessarily people who are professionally involved in the sector, but who are very much as citizens, as people, want to make sure that everyone is taken care of in their community, in their city, and we need more of this.
Brilliant, absolutely. Yeah. One last question. I've learned that sometimes architects got something like an idol. People which style they are liking, kind of a typical school of doing being an architect. So have you any idols or people that you especially respect or honor for their work, which you which has influence on you?
Yeah, no, great question. I think maybe to touch on the aspect of having this starchitect, as we call them in the architecture industry, as a kind of idol. It's important to have role models, but I also think it's nice to think of the collaborative aspect of the industry. One thing that is nice to point out is that 100 years ago, Le Corbusier, who's like a pioneer of the modernist movement, so movement that led to buildings like the building that we're in, and very important movement for contemporary architecture today. But it was very much about style and very much about certain aspects of architecture. And I think now what we need is not style, but what we need is systemic change. So it's more about how we do things, the processes. So not what it looks like, but what does it give back to our community? What does it give back to the planet? And so there's also a bit of a shift from going from this starchitect culture, in my mind, and also stylistic and thinking about what things look like, and to moving to what does it do? What is the impact that it has socially, environmentally, economically, etc. So that answers your question a bit, but also, it's about changing a bit the way that we think about things and not focusing on that one person, but about the change that we need, which is much broader and a big, hairy problem, but
the bigger picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here, and have a great time.
Thank you so much.